Go through the entire segment because I think me and Steve Leto actually agree on this, but this was a video I recently found.
Leto's Law. Here's Steve Leto.
Got a story here sent by a whole bunch of people, including Mike, and the headline says it all. The feds can film your front porch for 68 days without a warrant, according to the court. So what happened here, of course, is law enforcement set up a camera to surveil a man's house, and they're filming the front of his house for 68 days. And apparently they found something they thought was relevant, and they wanted to use it against him. The man sought to suppress it by saying, "You can't just film my house for months on end." And the court said, actually, yeah, they can. And they say the privacy is diminished due to the proliferation of video cameras throughout society. So Maxwell Zeff wrote this for Gizmodo, and it happened.
There is a couple of issues with this that I want to bring up. First of all is the idea that somebody can I don't know the full nature of how this gentleman's supposed to be disabled. So if he was doing something that would be difficult to do, especially if he's doing it often, especially if he's continuously, if his previous occupation, he had to do it day in and day out, and he gets caught doing something, months after being on the shelf because he just wants to get up and feel normal. The fact that they caught him after watching him for 2 months doesn't seem like that. Seems like they watched him for a point to screw him over. The second issue is this is about watching his house. The place that you're supposed to have the greatest expectation of privacy, they said it was okay because somebody might peek in your window, might accidentally take a picture of your house while your drapes are open, so they can put a camera for that specific purpose and watch you indefinitely without getting a warrant. The judge seemed to not like that fact that we all have cameras in our pocket, but he still basically told the government that they don't need a warrant to videotape you 24/7. This is a dangerous precedent. This is unacceptable. Now, it has been brought up with things like body cams on law enforcement already, but they're not leaving the camera there to watch you specifically. It is there both for their own protection and to protect you so that there's evidence of police misconduct. And there have been studies, and yes, I know saying there has been studies, people might risk it, that those body cams have cut down on government, cut down on law enforcement, uh, um, not corruption, but prevented, it has cut down on misconduct by law enforcement. That's a situation where you have no expectation of privacy. The camera is only seeing what the cop's seeing. And so it may be evidence of their own misconduct. And I've said this before. If the cops loses the footage for an investigation, I think every judge and lawyer should say, okay, reasonable doubt, you're good to go. Not reasonable doubt. We have serious questions about your behavior, officer, until they can prove that there's a legitimate reason that the footage did not or disappeared. That being said, I think this is a dangerous precedent for the public. The government needs to have restrictions. This is how totalitarianism, this is how tyranny happens. When the government does not fear consequences for violating its own restrictions, for violating rights.